Let's do a role reversal today.
We can if you want.
Let's try
I
it.
don't I don't have any review people's reviews though. If you want to send those to me.
I'll send them to you.
Okay. This
Let's
is
try
fun.
it.
God,
Oh, this is
the control freak in me already hates this, but it's fine. I have
no,
to,
it's gonna be fun.
my therapist who doesn't exist says
Right.
to let go and let God. 1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to fuck, man. Hold on. No. I got it. Welcome to Oscar Wieners, the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night, yep, 24 hours, 7 days a week. What's next? I'm one of your hosts. Okay, yeah. I'm one of your hosts. Didn't come up with a fake name. I'm one of your hosts, Roger Rabbit. That's me. That's who I am. This is my co-host,
I am Brooke L. James.
Brooke L. James. Thank you for joining me, Brooke. My real name is Paul Somersville. Scratch that. My real name is Jason Jacoby Peters.
You can't get out of the bit.
No. Hold on. I'm landing on something here. Jason Jacoby Peters, Dennis Hopper Smith Jr. the Third, Esquire Dr. Presley Smith. But you can call me Ander.
And I'm Michael.
Okay. Good. I think, how was that?
That was great. You did great.
Okay.
You when you first started, you got like red in the face. You were like, "Fuck," but you're
Well,
good. You're doing great, man.
Instantly I botched it, and then I was like, "Oh no, this is actually a bit harder than I imagined."
Go back to the first episode though. Go back to the Return of the King episode. I do the
Yeah.
same exact thing.
Well, you kind of wung it, right? I mean, you're pretty much like whatever is gonna come to my head is gonna happen.
No, I wrote down that intro. I came up with it. I was like, "Oh
Okay.
wait, that's good," because I wanted like a little thing to say. Because I feel like all podcasts have like a little like tag where they're like ba ba da ba da ba da ba 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 ba.
Oh yeah, and it's
I'm
a
your
good
host.
thing.
And it's like, yeah,
I'm your host, freaking
it's
Chet
just
You Betcha or whatever.
exactly. It's just good branding.
Yeah, it is good brand. No, it's good. I like what you came up with, and we'll do it now until the end of time.
Amen.
Today we are covering. Oh,
What is this podcast?
right. No, yeah. Let's just start with that. This podcast is about we talk about movies. We talk about movies. We only Oscars Best Pictures winner. Gonna take it one more time. Only Oscar Best Picture winners is what we do. We talk about those and their successes, their pitfalls. Did they deserve it? What have you? And today we're talking about. I had to check my notes. Today we're talking about terms of endearment. Nice.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited for this one.
1983's terms
1980.
of endearment.
Yeah, 1983. Thank you. 1980. I got it.
Well, 1984 Best Picture winner, I think.
Right. I got it. 1984's Best Picture winner came out in 1983. Terms of Endearment, starring. I got a lot of windows open. Starring.
Why? Starring Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper.
Chet
Really?
You betcha.
Hold
Fuck,
on.
fuck.
Chet You Betcha is in it. Fucking. Mark Hyde is the director. Holy shit, this is hard. How do you do this?
I usually look at so you could look at IMDb.
Okay.
I usually look at Letterboxd on my phone because the cast list is much easier to see on there. Letterboxd on a desktop or a laptop is very difficult to parse, like who is in the movie.
Okay. I'm going to revolutionize your whole game right now. Try Wikipedia. Because I feel like it's pretty solid.
Try Wikipedia.
What's that? Is it Star Wars Wikipedia?
It's a Star Wars database, obviously.
Okay. All right. Okay. Of course. Directed by James L. Brooks. What does the L stand for? I don't know. I'm gonna guess Lemonade. Starring Deborah Winger. She is Emma Greenway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shirley MacLaine is her mother.
Aurora,
right? Jack Nicholson is Garrett, the ex-astronaut. You got Danny DeVito. You got Jeff Daniels. You got John Lithgow. And then you got a real show on your hands. You got a spectacle. That's it,
I
right?
guess like a brief plot synopsis.
Yeah.
What the
I got
movie
that.
is.
Yeah, I got that. I watched this movie.
You're like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Shut up, dude. I have it, dude. I've done this. I've rehearsed this. Terms of Endearment really explores a mother-daughter relationship between Emma and Aurora Greenway. Explores their love lives. Aurora, her next door neighbor is Jack Nicholson's character, aka Garrett. He's kind of an asshole. They kind of get together. Emma marries a dude named Flap or whatever. I don't know why his name is Flap. He's kind of an asshole. They have a thing. And it's really just exploring those relationships. And things get weird. Would you agree?
I mean, things are weird. It's a very it's like simultaneously a slice of life movie, but also the life within it it feels heightened and also grounded.
I didn't like that it was
it fluctuates.
Yeah, it felt like it was trying to come off as grounded. And I think a lot of people reviewed it as like, oh, this movie is so real. Like, this is life. But this is not really what life is like. Right?
Right.
That's just how I felt.
No, I agree. I mean, full disclosure, this is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it dearly. I think. See, you've
seen it before this.
I've seen it before. This is only my second time watching it.
Okay.
And it confirmed that it's one of my favorite movies.
Okay, confirmed. Nice.
Like it's probably not in my top 25. Not to like get into it, but it's probably not in my top 25.
What's number 19 on that list?
Let me see if I can.
Spanglish.
It's Spanglish. Nice pull. Spanglish is actually not a bad. We'll talk about James L. Brooks at some point. But I want to say 19 is like Inside Llewyn Davis.
Wow, that's a good pull. I love that movie. I always forget about it.
Yeah, my favorite Coen Brothers movie. Fucking rips. Let's see.
That movie does
19?
rip.
Inside Llewyn Davis is 21. Number 19 is Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, wow. You really got it on deck. Okay, cool. Shaun of the Dead. Nice. Good to know.
It's a very important movie for me. But we're not talking about that because we're not nerds. We're talking about real movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I think I get why people would say this movie feels real, because I do think there's a spontaneity to the performances, and they feel, I don't know, man. These people feel so human to me. We're like literally within a scene.
They do.
Within the space of like 10 seconds, they'll go from angry at a character to like being completely fine with them, and like it's
I think this is
flip-flopping.
This is one of the movies that we've covered in a while, and also one of the only ones I think where the dialogue actually this feels like people talking to people. Like, how many movies that we've seen so far can you say that for? I feel like maybe 2
Broadway melody, I think, right?
Yeah, of course. Probably melody. They sing to each other. It's nice.
Yeah, they
I
hold each
think-
other's hips.
I mean, like, especially because I feel like recently we've been doing like a lot of 40s ass shit, and they're always like trying to get somewhere or do something. Like the dialogue in those movies is it's very expository. Like, here's what we're doing and where we're going and blah blah blah. This is just like you said, it's slice of life, and I think they did capture life, kind of. Some of it's exaggerated.
So something I love about this movie.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, what's your experience with this movie?
I love it.
got
It's
it.
great.
I got it.
I love this movie. It reminds me of. So I love time. I mean, this is an insane thing to say, but I love time. I love thinking about time. I love thinking about what happens in the course of a life over time, like something like Boyhood, right?
Okay.
Like charting a person's experience over a long period of time.
Okay, that did sound insane at first, but that does make sense now that
Right.
you explained. Okay, yeah, sure, I get that. There's something impactful about getting to witness a life in 2 hours time.
Yeah, and I love that the first 45 minutes of this movie, it's like it goes from Emma as a child.
Yeah.
There's like 2 scenes with her as a child. No, one scene is her with her as a baby. Aurora walks in, her mother,
Yeah.
and is like, "Is she breathing?" She's like, "Oh God, it's crib death." And she wakes the baby up until she's crying, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, she's alive. Cool. I'm gonna
And then
leave the room
leaves,
now."
and then
Yeah.
dips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
it goes
see her
from-
as a teen, I guess, for like a second.
Yeah, it's the day you never see him, but it's the day Jack Nicholson is moving in next door that
Right.
she's watching the movers like move all his
Right.
shit in.
If in fairness, if Jack Nicholson was moving next door to me, I would also react that way. I'd have binoculars on my porch or whatever. Be like, holy shit, it's Jack.
Yeah. I like that they credited his belly. That was really nice. It's like
What?
Jack Nicholson and his belly.
They
His
did not.
belly's a supporting character.
No. Is
No.
that real?
No,
Okay.
there's just he has such a good belly in this movie.
He does, yeah. He does reference it a couple times. He's like, am I just an old astronaut with a... Look at me, I'm like a Korean War vet with a belly.
Yeah, I just love it. It jumps from the first 45 minutes. It jumps from Aurora, Emma being a baby to
Baby.
her being like a grown woman. And she has 3 kids, and like it'll just like between scenes it'll jump like, oh, it's been 5 years.
Sometimes it felt like it was like too much was being shoehorned in at times.
Like what?
Like, well, I guess it's ironic because I don't have the same complaint about Boyhood, which captures literally this kid's entire life. But like, I felt like there jumped periods of years, and I'm kind of left wondering like, wait, what happened like in between this time? Like, she's got a tumultuous relationship with her husband Flap, and it's like, well, wait, did they reconcile? Like, did they do anything to kind of compose themselves and continue their marriage, or like what status are we in?
Part like when it in the ways that it feels real, I think part of why it feels real is because it's like, oh, this tension never really went away. It's still going 5 years later, and maybe has like dwindled since then, but then is reignited, when like a certain thing happens.
Right. I think the way that the characters interacted with each other was very real and believable, and I liked it. The whole scene with Jack Nicholson, I will say, is like he gives the best performance I think I've potentially ever seen on screen.
Really?
Ever.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I think it's so good. It's just every little facial expression, every mannerism, every little tone inflection is just everything serves to his character. I was cracking the fuck up. Like, he's got like these little grins, and like he does the little Jack Nicholson voice. The scene where he asks out Aurora is hilarious to me. He's just such a putz. He's kind of like, he's a former astronaut. He relies on his status to pick up women. He's a chauvinist. He's kind of a bad dude, and like basically tries to pick up Aurora, who is the matriarch of this whole picture.
Right.
And he's just such a total goofball, and it's so funny to me. And like all of his little facial expressions, I think, are so funny. I think that scene is so rewatchable.
Yeah. Yeah, he asks her out to lunch, and then
Well, he asks her
she's
out
like,
to the White House. I got this White House dinner, and was wondering maybe if you wanted to, like, all my old broads aren't around, and I figured I'd just ask you.
it's so offensive too, because he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, because like the other astronauts will be there with their wives, and you know, if
Yeah.
I bring one of my young ladies around, the wives will get, you know, a little bit persnickety or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're old enough, so I figured I'd ask you out. And like,
He's like, yeah, you're old.
What I love about Aurora's, what I love about Shirley MacLaine's performance in this movie is like, to me, it's so human because she's like simultaneously offended, but also like she is interested in Jack Nicholson. Like she likes his attention. He makes her feel like desired and sexy.
Yeah.
And like she likes that, and I just like it's so, because like you can tell she's offended, and then he's like, what would you say, what would you have said? Because then I think the White House dinner, he says like it's canceled or whatever, and he's like
instantly he's like, actually it's canceled, but like, do you want to go to lunch? Like obviously that wasn't
like,
real.
He's like, what would you have said though if I did ask you, like if it hadn't been canceled? She's like, I would have liked to have seen the White House.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, that was slick.
Yeah.
But it's such a textbook, another textbook example of otherness being an attraction factor in a cinematic relationship. I feel like so many of these movies, it's like, I'm different from you, and we could complete each other in this. Like I felt that in their relationship too. Like On the Waterfront had it, where it's like, we're so different. Like that's like our thing, you know?
Right.
I see that a lot. I think it worked in this instance, but I do see it a lot.
Yeah. But totally, but also what I love, I think something that this movie gets right about just like people is that they like contain multitudes. And once Jack Nicholson and once Garrett is like not the right name for him. I don't know what he should be named. Garrett is just so like dull.
Well,
but maybe
I think that's the point. I think
right. His name's like Garrett.
They don't say his name until like deep into this movie.
Right.
Like the whole time, because I try to jot down what the characters, like who's who. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, what's this dude's name? And he's like, I'm Garrett. And I'm like, oh, he's Garrett.
Right.
And I'm like, you're right. It's a little bit underwhelming, but I'm like, oh, I think that kind of tracks. Like,
because he is just a guy. It's not like he's a guy. He's not like he's not a siren calling from the deep, you know? No, but what I love about as their relationship develops and like when they actually kind of do get into a relationship, like there's that wonderful scene
where they're in bed together.
Yeah, and
that's my favorite scene.
He's telling her about like, he's like, I forget exactly what he says, but it's like when he was like in space, and he says it's like this moment in his life he'll never forget. And then she looks at, and he's like, she looks at him. There's like a pregnant pause. She looks at him and she's like, "This is my moment." And then he starts to get nervous, and he's like, "Oh fuck, that's like a really intense thing to say." And then she like calls him on it, and she's like, "Don't be nervous, it's fine." And it's like that's like so good.
That was really good.
It feels so like spontaneous, and like these people are not saying dialogue. It feels like they're just like living in this moment and like are reacting to each other's reactions.
Yeah. And it was so humanizing of Jack Nicholson's character too, because he's basically been an asshole throughout the whole movie up until this point. Right? And he, you know, he has this moment of, because he always brags about being like, you go into his house and he's got pictures of him, you know, as an astronaut and like space medals and all this stuff. Like he's so braggadocious about it, but he's open and honest and is like, look, like, why shouldn't I brag about it? Like, I'm proud of that. You know, it gave me these moments that I carry with me the rest of my life, you know, feeling my heartbeat, you know, the spaceship taking off, whatever. He's like, what else am I supposed to talk about? Like, I really liked it and was passionate about it. And I thought that was really nice.
That's all. Yeah, totally. That's also a great scene. Like, because I love that. it's like because his life, the way his like how, because so Aurora is a person whose life is a particular way. She like her house is adorned in a certain way and feels very like
Yeah.
carefully assembled, and his is a little bit more ramshackle. Like in his kitchen, that like you're saying is there's just like a wall of like his astronaut stuff.
Yeah. Imagine having photos of yourself in your own kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she thinks it's a little bit like silly, like a little bit childish. And
Yeah.
like so that's the scene you're talking about. She sort of gets on him for having all this stuff on his walls, and then he tells her like he's like, I'm one of like 117 astronauts in the entire world.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is insane. He's like, why shouldn't I be proud of that? And
Yeah.
it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and then I want to say the next scene is that scene in bed.
Yeah, it is.
Which is great because there's no resolution. Like he gets mad at her for like sort of criticizing his like him feeling good about being an astronaut. He just gets mad, leaves the room, and then she sort of looks in his direction. Then we cut to the bed scene, and it's like this movie doesn't really waste time on scenes that resolve tension from the previous scene. It sort of just like cuts to a new scene, and it's like the tension has been resolved and now we're in a new moment. And I like kind of how fragmented it is.
I do think I liked that at first, and then I think they took it too far.
Where do you think they took it to? Like, what's the scene that changed that for you?
I think so. We haven't even talked about Emma like hardly at all.
Yeah,
she's also like she's like one of the two main characters in this movie.
Yeah.
But she is stricken with cancer at one point.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was bad.
I was wondering how you would. Okay. So terms of endearment, I feel like if you Google like. If for some reason you're like, let me Google cancer movies. Like, what are movies where people have cancer?
God, I'm just in the mood for just a great cancer flick.
There's like 40 minutes left in the movie, and then Emma finds out she has cancer.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was gonna be one of those things where like they brush past it because in my head I'm like, it would make no sense for her to just like for this to take over the plot, right? Like that wouldn't like we're exploring relationships, she's dealing with infidelity with, her husband is cheating on her. She's cheating on her husband. I'm like, let's explore those avenues. Let's see what's going on here. And then they just don't. Basically, the quote unquote resolution is that I have cancer and now all of a sudden I'm terminal. I have to deal with that. And it seems like the whole reasoning behind it is like, that's life, right, guys? That's life sometimes. And it's like, you're going to hate this comparison. I know you're going to hate this comparison. You know the movie Remember Me?
Yeah, man. I know the movie Remember. Oh, it's like where he just dies. He's like, oh, he happens to be in the Twin Towers on 9/11.
It was that level of crazy to me. It's like, because she dies. Spoiler alert. She died, like...
Yeah.
I get that that's life sometimes. Why did it have to be in this movie? I don't think it serviced the story. I think... they were exploring the characters. I want to see a resolution for these characters. And I think they just shoehorned it in just to spur some emotion. And I felt kind of cheap to me. And I didn't like it at all. It's as if the plot twist was like, it's 9/11, folks. That sucks, right? Didn't it suck that 9/11 happened? Yeah, it sucks that cancer exists. But why did it have to be in this story? I don't know. I don't think it really serviced it.
Part of why I like the cancer turn is for the reason
that's fucked. That's unbelievable.
You're coming out and saying you like cancer? You're really gonna take that stance.
You're really gonna take a pro-cancer stance on this podcast? Really? Okay.
Why I like the cancer plot turn in this movie is I like it for the reason you're saying you don't like it, which is like, yeah, sometimes for no reason people get sick and die.
Yeah.
And it really sucks.
The moment it develops is when you find out that, because they moved to Nebraska. At this point, Emma knows that Flap is cheating on her with that girl from college or whatever.
Yeah. Is her name Janet?
Janet or something, whatever.
Yeah.
some hussy named Janet.
Fucking Christ, man. It's not her fault.
No, it's not. But they move to Nebraska. He gets a new big shot teaching gig.
Not even though he's getting paid. He's getting the same pay, but he's just the head of the department. He just likes the title. Flap.
Oh,
fucking
really?
sucks.
I didn't know that. I thought the pay was better.
He says it. We'll talk about there's a lot in this movie. We'll talk about Flap, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And then Emma goes to visit Flap at the college, and fucking Janet is there, the woman that he cheated on her with.
Yeah.
And then you realize that at the same time that she does that, oh shit, they uprooted their lives, moved to Nebraska, so he could be with the girl that he cheated on her with. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so bad. And I wanted to explore that further, but then all of a sudden the diagnosis happens. Now she's like, what do I do with the kids, and blah blah blah, and it takes a different turn.
You don't really see in stories, or maybe I'm just not watching or reading the right stuff, but it's like Flap is like, oh, Emma's gonna die and I will have to take care of the kids, and I love my children, but I kind of don't want to have that responsibility. And also, I won't be able to do it because I have a job. I won't be able to afford childcare. And it's like, that's like, to have a character like have to go like just like process that is like, holy shit. And like, I think the movie really does a really good job of like breaking that down and how that sort of how that character is like processing that.
I didn't quite get that though. Like the whole custody debate, like, basically their families are vying for custody. Like, Emma is saying, oh, my mother, Aurora should take care of the kids and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the whole time, I feel like this whole cancer plot thread raised so many questions that I didn't have before. It's like, why is Flap not considered a capable parent by anybody? He was a dick and cheated on his wife, but at no point did he show that he was something except for a capable parent. He was a good dad throughout this movie.
I completely disagree. I think he sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
As a dad?
I mean,
they don't show much of his parenting.
It's true. It is fragmented, but based on what we see, he just seems completely disinterested. And there's that really great scene where the two boys come into, the parents' bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, the baby's sick. It's when the daughter is a little baby, like we said.
Right.
She's sick. She's crying. They wake up. I think Flap first. He wakes up. He's like, what's going on? What's going on?
And
they're
he's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. And then he's like, Emma, the baby's sick. And then she springs up and she's like half asleep. She's like, okay. Oh. And then she starts walking. She's like, and then she looks back at Flap. She's like, aren't you coming?
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Flap sucks.
Yeah, Flap sucks. But like in the beginning, you didn't want him to, because they had such a nice relationship starting out, and you wanted him.
So
Really?
I completely disagree.
Like he's kind of a putz, but like you want him to prove her mother wrong, because that's how it seems like it's framed to me. Like Aurora and Emma, this is going to be a conflict between the two of them. She's always going to hate Flap. Flap is going to have to take a lot of steps to prove her wrong, but it seems like maybe he will. But he doesn't, obviously, because he ends up being an asshole. But I can't help but lament the fact that this whole movie, whose framework is supposed to be the relationship between a mother and daughter, really isn't about that even a little bit. They don't even really talk to each other that much, except on the phone on occasion. Like I feel like it betrays its own message and its own purpose. I couldn't help but think, like, why did this movie exist? Right? Like,
because you think you initially thought it was a story about like a mother and daughter relationship, and then
is it not? What's it about then?
I think. See, I thought the thread of just like them, the mother daughter, like Aurora and Emma's relationship, sort of runs throughout.
But they don't talk enough. Like, there's not enough dialogue between the two of them to really explore that.
Right.
Like, when did she start caring so much about Emma? You know, was it the moment that she was considered terminal? Like, is that what spurred all this? I feel like my confusion was a result of so much time skipping. I'm like, how did their relationship evolve to this point? I was confused on that end. And also, which bothers me, Emma is also exonerated of all the bad things that she's done. She's done bad things. She's not perfect in this movie. She's cheated. She's committed adultery. She dated John Lithgow and just left him, and then you don't find out what happens to him because fuck that guy, right? And there's a scene where she's having a conversation with Flap.
I get what you're gonna say.
And I don't remember the line exactly, but it's clear that he indicates he didn't know about it. He didn't know about her cheating. And then she's just like, guess I'm going to take that to my grave and never own up to that. That's crazy.
I love that. To me, that's so
Really?
that's so human. Even in her,
it
her,
was
like,
human, but to me, I'm just like, what? Like, how are we not? I think we were robbed of some real drama that could have been produced. Like, ironically, because like the whole cancer thread is supposed to be an introduction of drama to the story. But to me, I think it's a removal. I think there's so many more avenues they could have explored that could have been way more dramatic. I wanted to see some sort of hashing out or reconciliation or something, but there really wasn't that.
See, I think that's a trope of like the cancer movie genre, which is like,
okay,
near the end you have this like teary confessional between multiple characters, between the person who has cancer and, you know, the people in their lives who they've had conflict with the rest of the movie. And I think it avoids all that, and because oh man, what was I gonna say?
Are you crying?
Yeah, the last like 20 minutes of this movie, I'm just like crying the whole time. I find every scene basically moving. But not in a way that's like big emotion. It's just like, so the scene with Flap where he's expressing regret over cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says something that's like, you know, you never did anything and I'm the one who cheated. And she's like, let's not get into that now.
I was like screaming. I was like, that, because that was insane to me.
But
like I guess you're right. You're totally right. Like, it bucked the because stereotypically what would have happened was she would have spilled her guts or whatever, and like they would have had this whole cry session and something would have happened. But I felt like I needed that catharsis, as stereotypical as it is.
See, what I feel is so much more powerful about that scene is like, so he's standing by the window and he says like, you know, I'm gonna miss you, right? And it's like, it's such a normal thing to say. And Jeff Daniels, he gives a great performance, even though Flap is the fucking worst. It's such a good performance, and the line delivery is like pitched perfectly between, like, just like it's just full of everything that has preceded it. It's full of like regret. It's full of not being a good enough husband, not being a good enough father. Like, it's full of all of that. And I think the scene avoiding the confessional between them allows the scene to dig deeper into like a way more interesting emotional thing, which is like, to me, which is you know, like what we've talked about already, like what's going to happen with the kids, and Flap being like, oh, I'm actually not capable of handling them, and also I kind of don't want all that responsibility. I really relied on you, Emma, to handle that because I want to just gallivant around and hook up with my students.
Well, that's not what he said. Meanwhile,
he said that.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Hold on.
I think he said gallivant. There was a gallivant in there.
Yeah, it's right here. Wow, gallivant around with my students and bone down is what he says. It's crazy.
He called himself the Bone King.
I was like, hell yeah, dude, daps for that. But meanwhile, they're gonna give custody to her mom, who not but 5 minutes of screen time later backslaps that kid into next Tuesday. she slaps the absolute daylights out of that child. He went to the shadow realm instantaneously. He combusted.
Yeah.
It was like she wound up, did a full. What did he even say? He was just like.
He was talking shit about Emma.
He was like, "I'm glad mom's dead" or something.
He didn't say that.
He's like, "I'm glad mom's dead," and she just, boom, destroyed. She's gonna have custody.
Okay, look, it
What?
sucks that she hit him. See, there's also another scene earlier before Emma gets cancer
She
where
destroys him. Like, don't just say he hit her. She hit him. She that was assault. That was.
I mean, it was. Look, I'm not.
That
I'm
was
not
crazy.
for
He did backflips.
Assault of any kind,
Like,
for a child, an adult.
Watch that scene back. She had perfect technique, perfect form, and just.
See, now you're talking about it so much how impressive it was that I think you actually kind of loved it.
It was pretty awesome. I mean, he got airborne. That kid, that little goddamn.
He got
he's
fucking
a little
Jason
munchkin.
Bourne.
He just got boom into next Tuesday.
Yeah, this is an 80s movie. This is a movie this is an 80s movie about people like in the Midwest who are like, I'm gonna say out loud that I'm gonna hit you if you don't come, so let's shag a little ass, kid.
Let's just, I don't know about that turn of phrase, but
let's move some ass.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, definitely.
Aurora, after she hits the oldest son, apologizes to him. She's like, I'm sorry for doing that. I can't have you talk about your mom that way.
And then the movie ends, basically. You don't really get to find out, are the kids all right? I guess he befriends Jack Nicholson and they hang out or whatever. Danny DeVito's there. It's a great time. Danny DeVito's in this movie. We didn't even mention him once.
Yeah.
He's a simp. He plays a simp.
Yeah, Aurora just has this fucking murder of
she has a harem of old men that are just after
harem
her.
Is such a better word. Yeah, just men who just want to. I mean, Shirley MacLaine, let it be said, is a hottie.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the funnier moments of the movie where, because in the very beginning she shows her hanging out with all these guys who fawn over her, and then it jump cuts to 8 years later and they're still there. They're still doing at the same dinner or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, these guys are still here. What are you doing?
I love that it's a little weird. I love that these kids are gonna grow up with this little weird community of these men who are in love with their grandma, but she's dating Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, and they're still there. I guess they just are friends, quote unquote, but it still seemed weird.
Yeah, I love it though.
You got any other thoughts?
No, I have so much still left to say about this movie.
Do you? Hit me.
The high emotion scenes in this movie are written so well and performed so well because it's really it's people struggling to convey the sort of the immensity of a situation, the immensity of what they feel. I just think it's so well observed.
I think so too. I think that's definitely this movie's biggest strength.
Yeah.
But I think it had its weaknesses too. I didn't necessarily think this whole cancer exposition was necessary. And another thing,
you suck, man.
What?
You suck.
No. Name 8 reasons why I suck. Gladly, your stink.
I can smell you through the Zoom, man. You pig pen. You absolute pig pen.
You have lines coming off of you. You smell.
You have lice. I can see it.
I can't see my lice. You're not supposed to know about my lice.
No, sorry.
You know what?
Don't, man.
There's not anything there's no memorable iconography from this film. There's nothing.
So C-3PO isn't in it, so you're pissed?
Yeah, I miss C-3PO. Is that so wrong? Where is R2-D2? Beep, boop, boop, boop. Where is he? You know what I mean?
No,
Gump has so much iconic imagery. I think that's actually one thing.
Okay.
All right, sorry. I didn't mean to bring up Gump again.
No. Go ahead. I'm being too reactionary. I want to hear you out.
I think at the very even some of the films that I did not like that we've seen so far, I think at the very least, a lot of them have an iconic moment or scene or or some sort of visual that you immediately can associate with that movie. This I don't think had any of it. Like there's not like I only say this because you know the little doodle that I do for each episode?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to draw for this? It's a very real question. What would you draw? What symbol from this movie do you think is indicative of the entire film?
Oh man.
There's nothing. Oh my god, draw Jack Nicholson's goofy smile? I might.
Yeah, man.
I might do that.
Hell yeah.
I genuinely do not know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, maybe it seems like a small issue, but I think if you're talking about an Oscar Best Picture winning film, I think it should be something that's instantly memorable for something that you can associate with some sort of visual. I think that's important.
I don't disagree. I think that's a valid point.
Nice.
I mean, I think this movie looks good. I think it's,
It looks good.
photographed well. I think
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. There's nothing like visually iconic.
I mean, look, the characters were all the performances were really good. The characters were human.
Let me tell you what to draw.
Okay.
Draw a golden retriever, like a head,
Okay.
just the head. You don't have to draw the whole body.
Sure.
Then draw a collar
Yeah.
around their neck. So like draw like a little bit of the neck, and then on the tag write Jeff Daniels because that's what he is. He's a golden retriever of a man. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Write flap on it.
I'll write flap on. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. No, but like if I was wearing a T-shirt with a picture of a golden retriever's head that said flap, you wouldn't be like, oh shit, terms of endearment.
People would be like, place this man under arrest. What the fuck is he talking
It's
about?
like bleeding. There's like it's just very viscerally brutal. Decapitated dog. All right.
That's all I have to say.
Let's find out who else was nominated. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. All right.
Go for it. Sorry, I'm done.
Here's who was. This is the year 19.
So much preamble, right?
Well, how the fuck? Where the fuck is Best Picture?
It's
Hold on.
it's usually closer to the bottom, I think.
Why? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. So also nominated. Terms of Endearment. Congratulations, you did it. James L. Brooks, you did it. Good job. The Big Chill.
Oh, a movie I've never seen. Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah, never seen it either.
A big boomer movie.
I feel like a lot of these are boomer movies.
Okay.
The Dresser.
It's about a cabinet.
Fucking sucks. Okay. The Right Stuff.
Oh, The Right Stuff is a fucking masterpiece. Everyone,
Okay.
it's on HBO Max.
Sure.
I was actually just looking at this earlier. It's like a fucking 3 hour and 15-minute masterpiece about the first astronauts.
That's the Right Stuff.
Yeah. Fucking rules.
Okay. Check that out.
Check it.
And also check out Tender Mercies. If you like chicken tenders, if you like Mercedes Benz, watch Tender Mercies. It was also nominated for Best Picture. Don't know what it is. Philip Hobel produced it. Hobel. So for short film, animated or otherwise, Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Did not
good for
win,
him.
but Sunday, Sundae in New York. Sunday in New York won.
I want a Sunday in New York.
Sounds good. I might check that out. It's a short film. Sounds fun. What do you think about those other nominees? You like The Right Stuff?
I do.
Not
I've
better
only
than
seen
this,
The Right
though.
Stuff once. Maybe I'll rewatch it tonight.
Ooh,
Because I saw it earlier. I was like, fuck, I gotta rewatch that. Maybe The Right Stuff, but I just love Terms of Endearment so much. You know, another thing I saw when I was looking at that Oscars list, Best International Film,
Yeah.
Fanny and Alexander by Ingmar Bergman won.
That's the guy that you think is a master or whatever.
Yeah, I think Cries and Whispers. I forget what episode that was, but that was his movie that was nominated for Best Picture. Fanny and Alexander I haven't seen it. It's considered like his masterpiece though. it's like a 5-hour fucking movie. Well, that's the TV cut. There's two cuts. There's a 3-hour cut and there's a 5-hour TV cut. But you know, that's like, it's considered sort of his like
magnum opus.
It's not his last movie, I don't think, or maybe it is. Maybe it's his last feature like theatrically released movie, but it's considered like his final, you know, big statement about life. It's like his final artistic, like major artistic statement or something. Maybe that should have won, but
it wasn't even nominated. So
shut up.
I'm just telling
sorry,
you,
man.
Telling you. I'm just telling you what's happening. It wasn't nominated. So foreign language film, it won. So congrats.
Right.
The Right Stuff did win for best music, and I see that the composer is Bill Conti, which that's up my alley. He did the Rocky score.
I was gonna say, I was like, why does that name sound familiar?
He did Rocky.
That's cool.
That shit bangs.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson won Best Actor in a Supporting Role, as he should
deservedly.
have.
I think Shirley MacLaine won too.
Shirley MacLaine also won for Actress in a Leading Role.
Nice, good for her.
Good for her. And Big Ol' Brooks took home the Best Director.
See, that's crazy to me because Ingmar Bergman was nominated for Best Director, right?
Well, sorry.
Like again, I love Terms of Endearment, but I'm like, guys, this Swedish guy, I think Ingmar Bergman's Swedish. This Swedish guy, kind of one of the masters. And James L. Brooks went on to direct Spanglish, so.
Is that true?
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Wait. When you said Spanglish earlier, you were just throwing a joke out? I thought you said that because you knew he directed. James L. Brooks
I swear to you, I had no idea.
It
just came. I mean, maybe subliminally
crazy.
Somehow it entered my brain, but that's just
crazy.
It just hit me from God said that. I don't believe in God, but like whatever God is, if it exists, said
Monica,
that to
cut
me.
that
Just
out.
Beamed. No. Leave this in. God himself. That's right.
Fucking fuck off with that shit.
That's right.
You absolute
Beamed it directly into
libertarian
my
ass.
And I am a libertarian now and forevermore.
That's crazy. I mean, Spanglish.
Huh. Weird turn. I've never seen it.
I enjoy that movie. It's not. I don't know if it's good though. I think Adam Sandler is pretty. He gives a pretty good performance in that movie.
Uncut Gems.
One of his kind of good, more dramatic roles.
Yeah. Crazy.
Let's hear what let me read what the people had to say.
Oh, nice. I want to know. What did some folks have to say about this?
This first one, 2 stars.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson is so ugly, and the mom is a MILF, and she should give me a call. I was expecting to sob, and I was literally bored until the last 10 minutes where I cried. But
This
it was
the same review? I forgot. I pulled all these and I forgot already.
That was the same review, and they called where I cried, but it was a mid cry. It wasn't even a good cry.
Oh yeah,
fine.
This cry is so.
It was a 2-star cry.
Could you imagine crying and being like, "Ugh, this cry is so mid." This is a mid emotion right now.
Yeah, that's how you know we're fucking sick as a culture.
Yeah, just nuke the whole thing.
Let me rate my cry. We should start a website, ratemycry.com.
It already says I bought that domain years ago.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Another review, 1.5 stars. I have a bone to pick.
Okay.
Then they indent like 4 times.
Okay.
What the hell was this? No, seriously, what the hell was this supposed to make me feel? This is some of the sappiest crap I have ever seen. How did this win Best Picture? Were there just no movies in 1983? Not like Scarface or The King of Comedy didn't come out that year, both of which were not nominated.
Did they come out that year?
I ask again, what the hell?
Scarface was this year?
Scarface was 83, I think. I think King of Comedy was 82. So
what the hell is that?
On that. King of Comedy is a Scorsese movie with Robert De Niro. The Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix is heavily inspired by it or some shit.
Got it.
I haven't seen King of Comedy. 0.5 star, this person says.
Brutal.
I can't remember the last time I hated a movie this much. It's just a bunch of assholes being assholes, and then one of them gets cancer. If you like this movie, it's probably because you have familial trouble you haven't dealt with, and I hate you.
That's so mean.
Fuck,
and I
man.
hate you. God, that's harsh. And I did need to hear it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Actually, one more review.
Okay.
4 stars. Who the fuck is named Flap, and why would anyone marry him?
That's sad. Why is his name Flap? That is a good question. Imagine naming a character, and you're like, you have all the names to choose from. You're going to go with Flap.
But it's also perfect. He should be named Flap, right?
Yeah, he's a flap. He's a flap of a man. Yeah.
He's a flap of a man.
I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to do next week, we're going to watch another movie, if you could believe that.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm picking.
Hell yeah.
So next week, we're going to watch Gone with the Wind.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, man.
It was ripe for the pickens.
Oh, my God.
We're going to the south.
This movie's 4 hours long.
Oh, is it really?
No.
Why is it so long?
Stick
I'm gonna
with
watch it. No, I'm gonna watch it at 2 times speed.
Stick with it, man. This is a good pick. We're gonna
Okay.
tackle one of the most problematic and famous and profitable, weirdly, movies ever made.
It's like the most. It grossed the most.
Yeah, I think
Right?
still. I think still. It's like the highest grossing movie adjusted
But is
for
it one of those-
inflation.
Okay, so that's cheating because like they pay a nickel to see it, and a nickel was like $1,100 now.
You obviously don't know how inflation works, but yeah.
I mean, it's probably close to that, right? They'd pay a hay penny to see it, and now that costs
What's
like
a hay penny?
half a penny. I used to
Oh.
have that shit back then.
Oh shit! What the fuck is half a penny?
It was valuable. That was an actual value.
50% of 1 cent?
Half a cent, yeah.
Fucking stupid ass country we live in.
All right.
All right, gone with the fucking wind. Cool, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna watch 10 minutes a day, and then I'll finish it
It's
by
probably the best way to do
Friday
it. Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
probably the best way to do it.
Holy shit! All right, that's
All
a
right.
great pick. That was really shocking. God damn.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm glad.
I was
All right.
gonna pick some stupid shit.
Well, we got plenty of time for that. Let's. I'll see you. There'll be some. This is probably some stupid shit. But anyway, tuning in next week. See you, farters.
And make sure to
Go ahead. Yep.
always apply mustard and ketchup.
Oh, always, except when it's relish day. And I relish
And you have to
the
relish.
day. Nice.
Nice, man.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Maybe you can cut this out, but I want to know, what's your favorite movie so far that we've watched?
Really? We're gonna do this? Okay.
Yeah, just like an update. Just an update.
It's Gump.
You, man.
It really is, genuinely and truly.